Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time, and if you thought that this was going to be an uneventful Sunday, that we wouldn't have too much going on, I have news for you. We do have a lot going on. This is just unbelievable. I've already released some reports today about important Republicans essentially starting to make their feelings known about what's going on in the state of the country right now, the contesting of the elections, all the legal battles. I've also done a detailed report on what's actually happening in terms of the outcomes of these court cases. So definitely make sure you check out that video. What is happening is quite unbelievable. I've covered comments from Chris Christie, from Larry Hogan, who's a Republican governor. In fact, Republican Governor Larry Hogan just made a comment in response to one of the President Trump's comments criticizing Larry Hogan. And then I'll get into something that's extremely important, what Kate Bedingfield said. Now, in case you don't know who Kate Bedingfield is, I can promise you this is a name you're going to hear more and more of in the next few years. Kate Bedingfield is just 38 years old. Makes me feel like an old guy. I'm 42. Kate Bedingfield is just 38 years old, and she's the deputy campaign manager and communications director for Joe Biden. So, this is, she's in the middle of everything, if you will. And she was actually interviewed by Fox News' Chris Wallace. Pretty interesting interview where she was asked about what's going on as far as conversations between Joe Biden and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, which are important. You like it or not, those two talking and hopefully coming to some sort of a consensus is the first step. We still have a lot of Republican senators that need to get on board with future stimulus, and I'll go into her comments with Chris Wallace, which are extremely important, extremely telling. But first, let's see what President Trump said to a Republican governor, Larry Hogan, and how Larry Hogan responded. This is what President Trump said to the Maryland governor, Republican governor from Maryland, Larry Hogan. I'm quoting President Trump from his tweet. Report: Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, anti-Trump hero, paid for flawed COVID tests from South Korea. And this was a Breitbart report. And he said, this rhino will never make the grade. Hogan is just as bad as the flawed tests he paid big money for. Wow. Okay. All right. So keep in mind that, a lot of state governors, doesn't matter whether you're red or blue, are struggling to manage the pandemic. And, so the president criticized a Republican governor from the state of Maryland for handling the pandemic because of some flawed tests that he bought from South Korea, and the president quoted Breitbart. Now, this is a response from Hogan, and it's a very telling response. I'm going to quote Hogan, okay? If you had done your job, America's governors wouldn't have been forced to fend for themselves to find tests in the middle of a pandemic, as we successfully did in Maryland. I'm going to repeat this. If you had done your job, America's governors wouldn't have been forced to fend for themselves to find tests in the middle of a pandemic, as we successfully did in Maryland. And then the Republican governor said something which is, guys, nothing surprises me anymore. This is what he said. Stop golfing and concede. The Republican governor, Larry Hogan from Maryland, told the president, stop golfing and concede. All right, let's get into something that is a little bit more normal, a bit more of a normal, predictable discussion, something that is less criticism, less critical, and more, normal. I mean, what is even normal in this world? What is normal? What is normal about a year in which we have a worldwide pandemic, we have a vaccine, we have an economic crisis, we have a presidential election, we have multiple scandals, we have the integrity of the election being questioned. What else do we have? I hope that what could make this year more abnormal. I guess there could be aliens. There could be spaceships above us. That was my attempt at satire. But here's a conversation between Chris Wallace and Bedingfield. Pretty incredible position that Bedingfield has, and she's essentially a spokesperson for the Biden campaign. So Chris Wallace asked, when is he, meaning Joe Biden, going to meet with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell? To which Bedingfield replied, well, he's looking forward to doing that when the time is right. Typical answer. Obviously, he and Senator McConnell have had productive working relationship in the past, and he looks forward to meeting with him when that moment arrives. So that is what Bedingfield said. And then she also said, but you're absolutely right, he believes that we need to get a relief bill done in the lame duck. So Joe Biden wants a relief bill done in the lame duck, and he has said that he's in touch with House Speaker Pelosi, with Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer from the Democrat side. So he's been in touch with Nancy Pelosi and the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, and he is sort of in coordination with them in pushing for a large stimulus package. So she said, this is Kate Bedingfield now. So that is a priority for him. That is something that he's going to continue to push in the lame duck. That is what Bedingfield said. And then Wallace said, you can't do anything without the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. So is he going to meet with Mitch McConnell? And you got to give Wallace some credit for asking direct questions to both sides. Reporting is a very tough gig, guys. Whenever a reporter asks tough questions, you always have one side saying, he did a good job, and the other side saying, he didn't ask this, he didn't ask that. So, Wallace is interesting. All right, so here's what Bedingfield said. We strongly hope that Senator McConnell will come to the table. I think if you look at where the Democrats have been across the entire course this year, Democrats passed a bill back in May. We've seen obstruction from the Republicans. So obviously we are very hopeful that Mitch McConnell will come to the table. It is important. People are expecting it. They voted for action. They voted for progress. So, you can see the responses from Bedingfield are more, shall I say, normal, more political, a little bit of stalling. But, they see, I think in this environment, normal is kind of refreshing. It's kind of being, it's the feeling, the best analogy I can come up with, you've been hit with a fire hose for the whole year, like, and then suddenly you have a shower. You're like, this is normal. Boring, but it's good. So Wallace continued to ask Bedingfield some interesting questions. He goes, would Biden meet with McConnell now? To which Bedingfield replied, yes, absolutely. It is important that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell come to the table. So, it sounds like the two could end up talking because, the two have to talk at some point. They have to talk at some point. Hopefully that point comes sooner rather than later. Now, keep in mind, even though Biden has spent many decades in the Senate, I believe he spent about 37 years as a senator. He hasn't been in the Senate for many years now. I believe it's over a decade that he has not been in the Senate. Therefore, even though they know him, there really needs to be a building of the relationship collateral there. I have done another video where I've talked about the importance of relationship collaterals in politics. For example, there is zero relationship collateral between the President Trump, and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. In fact, I would say there is negative collateral. They pretty much don't like each other. I do not see them getting together, taking selfies, eating ice cream, eating burgers. I don't see that happening. But can Joe Biden have a more normal relationship with the key Republican from the other side? Let's hope so. Because, at this point, I can tell you that many of us are craving for normal. Okay? I think you know exactly what I mean. So we'll have to wait and see what happens right now. And, at this point, I've done extensive videos about what's happening with the state of all the lawsuits that have been mounted by the Trump campaign, with many prominent Republicans actually saying, hey guys, we need to get past this. Where's the evidence? And, I did cover some comments from Chris Christie, who basically called the Trump team's legal strategy and their legal team a national embarrassment. You can check that out in the description section below. I've also done another video with highlighting new comments from Bernie Sanders, from some of the more liberal Democrats like AOC, calling for more money, more stimulus injected into the economy. But honestly, for that to happen, the Democrats need to be able to pick up those 2 Senate runoff seats in Georgia on the 5th of January, which, by the way, is going to be a $500 million battle. I've done another detailed video talking about why Georgia is so important, about those, I've actually highlighted ads as well that are being run by Republicans and Democrats in Georgia, so you definitely want to check that out. But let me know what you think of this rather unusual, brutal standoff between President Trump and many other individuals, including the Republican Governor Larry Hogan from Maryland. President Trump also criticized Liz Cheney for some of the comments she made about what the president, should do in terms of taking an oath or, fulfilling his oath to preserve and protect the Constitution. So that is all the unusual stuff. And then I covered the normal, boring, predictable, political, dry, evasive response from a normal Deputy Communications Director for the Biden campaign in response to Chris Wallace from Fox News. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, you'll find the links to all of our resources also in the description section below. I really appreciate you watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you learned something new, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. I really appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you all in the next episode of Ignition Time. I'll talk to you soon. Take care and bye. Take care.